Okay, we do seem to have a problem with that line. We will try to get it fixed as soon as possible. Well, business leadership South Africa has welcomed President Jacob Zuma's establishment of a commission of inquiry into state capture. They also applauded the speedy appointment of a judge to lead the probe. Well, business leadership SACOO Busisiwe Mavuso joins us now. Good evening, Busi. Thanks very much for coming through. Well, you have welcomed this move, but what do you think it's going to do for us?
So what we think it's going to do, Vuya, it's actually going to unveil exactly the extent to which the damage has been caused by the state capture. Remember, the reason, or rather one of the reasons that was cited by the credit rating agencies in terms of what it is that we need to fix to avert a credit downgrade was to say that the political climate, the political instability, the political uncertainty is not good for the country. And indeed, we did not fix that. And now we saw that two agencies actually downgraded us, and that has costed the country a lot of millions, businesses and individuals alike. So we're actually hoping to get to the bottom of this so that the people that have actually been found guilty can be held to account. So this is encouraging for us because it says that we indeed have a judicial system that is independent, that is indeed, capable of making the right decisions and holding whoever accountable independent of the position that you hold. So we definitely encouraged by the move.
Well, the success of this commission depends largely, well, almost entirely, on how those who will come before it, the information that they bring, the credibility, their preparedness to actually cooperate with the commission. Now, business in particular, has not been particularly forthcoming. If one looks at these audit firms and some of the legal firms and some of the businesses that are not forthcoming with information, the prospects are not good looking at the performance of corporate citizens.
So, and I actually agree with you. So the reason why we actually applaud this decision, irrespective of the fact that we understand that we may be tainted as business, but we stand to, or rather we have decided to stand on the right side of the law. We have decided to stand on the right side of the truth, as it were. That is the reason why we actually suspended, for instance, the membership of your KPMG. We actually held discussions with MultiChoice. We actually, Steenhoff is not our member, but we actually issued a statement condemning what's happening in Steenhoff, and we're saying we'd like to see, and we actually encourage that an inquiry should be held in terms of exactly what happened. We suspended Transnet and so forth. So although we may be tainted, but that, however, does not, take away the fact that the truth still needs to be heard by the country, because that is important in the bigger scheme of things.
Well, I mean, suspensions may not be enough, considering the fact that individuals, whether in the public sector or in the private sector, have actually sacrificed a lot, putting their necks on the block, putting their jobs on the line. I mean, some of them don't even work as we speak. What are you going to do where corporates do not want to cooperate, can leave, in other words, with a suspension from your body, but won't decide not to cooperate? Are you going to name and shame them? Are you going to, out them? What are you going to do?
We've already done that. I mean, with KPMG, we're very forthcoming, and we actually encourage them to actually cooperate with whoever the powers that be in terms of the inquiry and forwarding whatever information that is actually required. But remember, I think this is where business and government differ. So in KPMG, you saw 9 executives that were sacked because of the findings, that led to the report. But I don't know to what extent you have seen that, in the public sector. After a lengthy inquiry into the ESCOM issue, you saw Matela Koko being reinstated. So we're actually worried about that, to say that to what extent is government, and particularly the ANC, really taking this seriously. So it's about time, that such things, or these people are actually over and above being held, or being hauled into these inquiries, they're actually going to have to be held to account and the right decisions, to be taken thereafter, because otherwise it makes a mockery out of all these inquiries that we're actually having.
Well, people like the former public protector have raised the issue of the fact that this inquiry has been delayed and delayed means that there may not be, witnesses that could have been there not too long ago. That's one fear. And then the other one is whether, in fact, the people who are going to lead the inquiry will get cooperation, in particular from the state. Do you have such fears?
We actually don't as business. We have no doubt whatsoever that the South African public and whoever is called upon to appear before the inquiry is actually going to oblige. I think the South African public is saying enough and no more in not so many ways. I think we have seen how the ANC actually, with the local government elections in 2015, that was the South African public saying that this cannot continue to happen. I think we have seen with the ANC conference, the result thereof, and this is the public again saying enough and no more. I think the deliberations at the moment are saying that should Zuma continue to be, the president of the country, or should we oust him? So this is actually telling that in terms of where we're at as the public, and we're saying that we have suffered because of actions of a few people, and to what extent are we actually going to allow that to happen? And I think people are actually ready. Your Mcebisi Jonas, your Pravin Gordhan, your Themba Masego, and so forth. And so those are people that have actually come forward and said, we're actually ready to give the information and we're willing to cooperate. So we're actually not fearful of that at all.
Busisiwe Mavuso, thanks very much for talking to us this evening.
Thank you very much.
She is, of course, the COO of Business Leadership South Africa. Well, the ANC's newly elected National Executive Committee is meeting in East London. Despite calls for the NEC to recall President Jacob Zuma, Secretary General Ace Magashule says the president's future is not on the agenda. We unpack this further at 7:30. Stay with Newsnight.